Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the office of Introduce Yourself.
Odete Pollar.
Odete and my good friend and longtime Oaklander Steve Webbins is... Steve?
Steve Webbins, yes.
Talk to our viewers about Odete
Well,
and her great new corporation.
I am working with Odete on her company, Matches That Matter, the solution for dating over 40 that's not internet-based.
And since I'm over 40, I'm quite interested in what you have to say. So anyway, hold on a second. Odete Pollar, how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. We'll talk to you about your great company, Matches That Matter, your new startup. So
I'm very excited.
Oaklanders and others, viewers may recognize you because you actually were columnist for the Examiner, right?
Yes, I wrote a nationally syndicated column for 8 years called Smart Ways to Work, and I talked about and wrote about workplace issues.
And so, how did you go from that to this new startup about dating for people over 40, excuse me, like myself? Okay. So, hey, I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
I'm proud to have been born in 1962. That's
absolutely.
a badge. That's
and
nice,
I
yeah.
am proud of being a native Oaklander.
There you go. Definitely. Definitely.
It was an interesting time because what I did was I started listening to my friends who were over 40, and they were talking about how difficult it was to meet someone if they were interested in having a partnership. Not necessarily being married, but being in a romantic relationship. And it went from, it's been a long time since I've dated, to, as my friend said, I'd like a date this decade.
Yeah.
And I thought, whoa, why is this so hard? Because I was hearing it from both men and women. And I wanted to know, was this a function of my friends? Or was this an indication of something larger that was going on? And so the way I answered that question is I held focus groups. I talked to men and I talked to women about what dating was like. Were they dating? What services were they using? What did they like? What didn't they like? And then I realized that this was a much bigger issue, that the biggest issue that we were dealing with really is isolation and loneliness for some, but certainly a social isolation. As busy as we are, people are very isolated. Even though we can go online and talk to somebody in another part of the world, you're interacting with that physical computer.
I'm compelled to ask this because how much of that has to do with death? You know what I'm saying? You get
I think
to
so.
a point where, all right, I've lost both my fathers in 2005. I think I've been to 6 funerals since that time.
Okay.
And you lose your relatives, you lose your friends. Is that what you find they're going through? And
Okay.
it impacts,
I find that that's a very small percentage of it.
Okay.
A bigger percentage has to do with the revolution in the last 20 years in how we work. That work is no longer going to one place, that you can work out of your car. That
Yep.
people work longer hours rather than shorter hours. That people have longer commutes rather than shorter commutes. That, 2 people are working rather than one person working in a family. That a family is no longer a nuclear family. It's those revolutionary changes that have really led to this situation. And specifically, the increase in the amount of technology. Laptops and cell phones, etc., which allows you to never be unplugged. There's a great deal of isolation, actually, that is increasing now. And because of that, I don't think anybody in building a really happy, successful life, which most of my friends have done, I don't think anybody built that life and had any idea that when they chose to have a relationship, that they couldn't sort of make one happen. So here's what I mean. Even if you were shy and you were in college, you ran into people.
Right.
There were opportunities. Even if you weren't a raw person, there were more opportunities then.
But you have that built-in social network.
There you go.
Because at Berkeley I had it. At Texas Arlington I had it, even though I didn't want to be there. But shouldn't have said that. But the whole point is...
No, but you're right. There's a built-in social
Right.
network. Now our social network is generally just at work, which is why I think when people lose jobs, it's not just the loss of income, but it's the loss of that network
Right.
that's so critical, because people don't often take those people with them, and people are so busy now, right? So you put all of that together, and I found that there was a need here, and it wasn't being addressed. So at the same time I'm noticing this, I am noticing this rise of online dating. It took off in the last 10, 15 years. And I thought, how is it that I'm hearing it's hard to meet, and we now have more opportunities? High-end matchmakers, private matchmakers, all of this is really increasing, but I'm hearing it's hard. Where's the disconnect?
Right.
And I found out where the disconnect was. And so I designed Matches That Matter, which is a social introduction service for people over 40, not online. We put small groups together, and they give back to the community. So people work on projects. They stay together in a matched group. They stay together over time. And that allows people to talk naturally, no pressure. It's not awkward. It's not artificial.
So the website is not the place to be, so you don't have this mechanism of faces that I get, or do you?
No, not the way you mean it. So,
okay, like Match.com.
This is not a case where you have to read through profiles and look at photographs. No reading, writing, faking them, any of that.
Or going online to find out if the girl that you just went out with is back online looking for somebody else.
Exactly. So we wanted to avoid that. So I designed Matches that matter.
Not that I've been there, though.
No, you've just heard about it.
Right. No, really, I have. I haven't dated online since 2006.
I see.
Five, yeah.
I see.
And there's a reason.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, but go ahead.
So when I designed Matches That Matter, I designed it based on the underserved part of the population, which is actually the over 40 population, and I designed it to lay to rest or eliminate 95% of all of the problems that I heard about from online services, paid or not, and I'm talking about from the users, right?
Sure.
Or even from the in-person services. What's not working? So I designed this to lay to rest those objections. So there are a lot of people who don't want to go online or aren't interested in online, or can't go online if they're in a sophisticated kind of field, or a field where privacy is important and your clients can't see you online. That may not even be an option.
Especially
or you might find it ineffective or not effective. Right? So yes, your experience has maybe not been as positive as it could. Now, does that mean that nobody ever meets online? Of course I'm not saying that. The problem is, it doesn't work well enough, often enough, for enough people.
One girl told me she'd like me better if I was Asian.
Isn't that interesting? And the assumptions that get made, from a photograph and a profile. So by putting a match group together, how do we match based on any of a number of criteria? We're not doing one-on-one matching, so there isn't that pressure.
Right.
You have something to talk about immediately. Here's the project. There's a beginning, a middle, or an end, so that you know you've done something. You've done good.
So give me a scenario.
You've increased your network.
Sure.
Right? It's easy.
And your net worth. I'm just joking.
It's really easy. We do all of the work. You tell us the kinds of activities. We offer you, the dates and the activities. So I believe, coming from my background, is that the clients shouldn't have to work.
Yes.
Right? So it's very different than an online model where you're doing all the work. You're searching and you're writing profiles and you're doing this and you're calling and your email. You don't have to do all of that. We do that for you. We interview you, right? We do a background check, 2 kinds actually.
Huh.
And then we put groups together.
Kinds?
We look for sexual predator, of course, and violent felony. Those are the two that we are the most, of course, concerned with.
Which an employer would do.
Right.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Right.
And so, what was it that caused you to form... Show me the website, by the way. This,
yes, the website is matchesthatmatter.com.
Cool.
Matchesthatmatter.com.
So events, fun facts, survey, their blog, Matches That Matter. Excellent. And you have a YouTube channel.
We do.
Excellent. What sparked all this? What happened to you?
Are
you married now?
And I got no. I am also single.
So wait, not only did you start the company, you're a customer.
We thought about that. We thought about. I'm not only a.
Yeah.
But of course, we have a company policy that says you can't date the clients. Just ethically, we can't.
Yeah.
But yes, I am single, and
so what
I have
took to violate that? I had to ask.
I understand. Ask it again.
At what point are you tempted to violate that policy?
Less so, because I'm not in the day to day. I don't see every member. I'm not the person interviewing the members. We have skilled interviewers, that do that. So we just wanted to make sure that nobody felt that, the staff is skimming off the cream of the crop. Because, understand that what I thought is attractive
that's a
is
legitimate
something
concern
that somebody else is not interested in. But nobody thinks about it that way, right? The world's big. It's actually not small. It's not that there are too few men or too few women. That's actually not true. The world is large. So in a very short amount of time, you can meet, and we put groups of 6 men and 6 women together. So it's a large enough group.
Your hands, you gesticulate very well. Go ahead. It's like that.
So, which is a large enough group to be social, right? Not too large, not too small to be pressure. It's just an ideal size, and it works so comfortably. And if you like 1 or 2 people, invite them out. They are now no longer strangers. It is not awkward. It's like falling off a log. It works beautifully. And how do I know this? We have a 20% success rate.
Really?
That means...
You mean marriage?
We have a 20% success rate.
Okay.
That means that members in our groups start to date each other.
Ah.
And this is really critical, because the only success is not whether you get married, because not everybody wants to get married.
Right.
I don't have a marriage bias saying you should be married. There's something wrong with being single. That's not my bias. I just think that if you want romance in your life,
I want to get married.
you have the right to have it. You ought to be able to have it. And the other services are ineffective for various ways according to users. And I thought, there's a need. Let us move in a different direction and let us solve a social problem.
What is it that happened to you where you said, this is what I'm going to do? Or did something happen to you?
Why did I do this?
Yeah. As opposed to I don't know.
It's a great question.
Automated basket weaving. I don't know.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Right? Something easy, like being a police officer.
Right.
For example, I'm entrepreneurial. This is my 3rd business.
Okay.
And as I started researching this, after I started holding focus groups and I got more and more fascinated with this, it didn't go away. I didn't wake up one day saying, I really want to start a matchmaking, dating, introduction service.
Did you have a bad date?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have a bad date, a bad day, whatever. But I looked at this, and it got more and more interesting. And the more I talked to people, and the more...
Why did you look at
I looked at the needs out there.
Were you trying to find a mechanism for yourself originally? I mean, was it... There's a reason there. There's an emotional connection there that
of course
every entrepreneur has. That's what I'm trying to dig at you about.
Yeah, I understand. So so let me go down this path,
Yes,
then I'll come back.
Okay.
One of the things about ideas is which of them stick with you. I have lots of ideas. There are a couple of ideas I think are brilliant.
Well said.
They haven't stuck with me, right? This stayed with me, and it grew. And it got bigger. It started as, people ought to be able to meet.
Sure.
If I wanted to do that, I could throw dinner parties.
Yeah.
That would solve the problem, right? But personally, I wanted my next business to meet certain criteria.
Do you have friends that are using this now?
I want it, yes.
Yeah.
One is that I wanted it to have a large impact. So we are in the Bay Area right now because we're a startup. But this is designed as a national business.
Right.
I want to have a large footprint. I then really want to solve a social problem or issue. So not only am I giving back to the community, as well as having fun projects and social activities, but I really wanted to tackle what's going on here, because the isolation, I think, is increasing, not decreasing.
Why?
Because as technology becomes ever more prevalent, that people are starting to move away and away and away.
Yes.
Do you remember, for example, the Peace Corps?
Yes.
Okay, so when did you go in the Peace Corps? When you were in your 20s. You graduated from college.
Well, I didn't go, but I knew people who did. So right.
But they did it when they were younger.
Right.
Now
it's Teach for America.
Now the folks who are going to the Peace Corps are 45 and older. This whole population now generally is pretty secure. They've had 1 or 2 professions, and they now want to do something different that has an impact. I wanted to take advantage of that driver and that need, as well as solve the introduction need. and men and women's needs around this are different. So there are more men online in general than there are women.
Right.
But in face-to-face services, there are usually more women than
Interesting.
men. Has to do with how men and women affiliate. So I thought, how can we do this and get rid of all of the assumptions and misconceptions that the online gives you? I mean,
Right.
just, oh, well, how tall does the person have to be? Oh, you mean have a choice? Oh, well, in that case, and what color eyes? Oh, excellent. Let me have 3 of these, right? And then it doesn't work, right?
Right.
So, if you think about what happens
It's
in
like
real
laundry
time,
list.
exactly.
Right.
What happens in real time in the real world is you meet people and you like each other anyway.
Right.
That's what actually happens. And you like each other in spite of the fact that one is a Democrat and one is a Republican.
Right.
They marry each other all the time. But if you look at a checklist, I would never consider
James
anybody
Carville and
who,
Marlene
whatever,
Maitland.
there. That would be one
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
So, if you've ever had an experience like this where you've ended up having a significant relationship with somebody you would never have chosen, what happened there? And what happened is you like who you like.
Right.
You like who
Yeah.
you like. So if I can solve the access problem, single people also looking, interested in what you're interested in, you're doing a project that you chose yourself,
Right.
that you're interested.
Absolutely.
That really increases the likelihood of a connection occurring. So I wanted to do that easily, and I wanted to do it in a way that was scalable.
What are these projects? How do you?
There's a huge range of projects. So let me give you three or four.
Sure.
If you're a history buff, for example,
Actually,
or you're
I've
ex-military,
been following Churchill lately. Yeah.
either. Okay. Alameda Naval Air Museum.
Yes.
Right. Not many people know about it, but that museum has 80 years
The
of
USS Hornet,
ephemera.
right?
No, it's in a freestanding building.
Oh, okay.
See, you didn't know about it.
No, I did not. I
80?
assumed it was the Hornet.
Nope.
Interesting.
80 years of memorabilia. They needed to catalog it. So people who happen to like history and that kind of stuff thought that was the best idea in the world. So 12 of us got to get together and they cataloged and asked to stay longer and to come back. So the not-for-profit then gets discovered. People continued long after
Right.
Our activity was finished. Then there are other people who are outdoorsy. So we cleared a creek, Saucil Creek,
Oh.
of invasive weeds, etc. For outdoor people, that's wonderful. Some people like to build, so you build a school garden.
Right.
So the issue
for
and the
Lake Merritt.
idea is what kinds of things do you like, and let me put together people who are like that.
Right.
And the secret is that you meet with the same group 3 times. The secret is frequency of contact is what is so important. And what all the other services do is they put 1 or 3 people in a room together. And the problem is you meet once.
Right.
And it's very hard to shine in a single meeting. Over time, you have a second and a third opportunity to make a great first impression.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And what you need is a frequency of contact. That's why people date at work. It's not that they want to fish from the company pier, but who else?
Or dip their pin in the company ink as someone.
Exactly.
She said.
So how can I recreate the best of what happens at work quickly
Yeah.
with the right people, not random, but the right people, doing things where you won't have wasted your time. So the worst case is you did well.
Brilliant concept.
You've met, 5 other men, 5 other women, depending, right? It works so incredibly well. People are dating afterwards. Now we are a startup, so we just launched. We have members. We're building quickly, actually, and we are very, very, very excited.
So, if I want to get involved in this, and I'm listening, what do I do?
You can do one of 2 things, and this also is a function of our demographic. You will notice on our website that the first thing you see is the phone number.
Right,
Call us. Let's make your life easy. 510
right
496 0040. You can always call.
Yeah.
You can also go to the website, which describes what we do. You can enroll.
Matchesthatmatter.com.
Exactly. Matchesthatmatter.com. You can also enroll online. We make it very, very easy. You simply need to be over 40 and single and interested in a relationship.
Now let's talk tech. How are you? Are you a 501c3? Are you a corporation?
We're a
Are
C
you
corp.
A C corp.
Yes.
And are you the chairman of the board?
I'm the CEO.
And
And yes, I have a board of directors, of course.
how many? Do you want to? Can you talk about them? Do they like to be talked about, or?
It probably doesn't matter, but I didn't ask their permission. I would be more comfortable if I did ask.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
And you
I
are.
assume it's fine. But.
And you are looking for funding right now.
I am from angels because we're at that pre-revenue
Sure.
startup phase. What's great
How
about
much
this
do you need? Any idea?
opportunity is that this is not an idea on the back of a piece of paper. We did focus groups. We did beta tests. We have staff. We have the infrastructure completely built. We've opened. We actually have members. So it's a much more secure and solid bet than, had we talked about this 3 years ago. Because I spent 2 years in the building of this and the research to make sure that this really was viable and would work.
And how is it that, where do you plan to be in 5 years? Where would you like to be?
5 years, we will absolutely be national, and actually in 3.5 years, we'll be in 32 cities.
Now, are you building this company to flip? Or are you going to run it and take it out to...
I want to
not that I would dissuade you from, turning away a $250 million offer to buy, of course, but, I'm just asking.
Yeah. I did not go into this like some entrepreneurs, which is how quickly can I get out of this? Can I grow this to $5 billion and flip it in 18 months? No. I really want this to be national. I want it to build. I want it to evolve.
Sure.
And there are lots of different ways this can build, including building with our alumni. It can build for people who are between 30 and 40. We just opened another division. There are lots of ways to build this company, and those are clearly outlined. But I see holding it at least 5 years before a merger or an acquisition.
And why Oakland to base your business? I asked Joe Costello for the same question. Why are you located in Oakland?
I'm located in Oakland for a couple of reasons. I was born and raised here. I happen to like Oakland.
Wait, time out. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Oakland High School. And
class of?
The other reason I'm in Oakland is because the Bay Area is a unique place. If we can make it here, we can literally make it anywhere. And we can get to San Jose and Marin and Sonoma and have activities everywhere. So there's a
High
reason.
School you went to?
Yes.
I went
did.
to Skyline.
What
Yeah,
is
exactly.
that?
I should... I'm out of here. I'm just kidding.
You're right.
For those of you who may be in Tokyo or Bangladesh, Skyline High School and Oakland High School, their football team sucked.
They did not. They did not, and I was
we used to beat you guys routinely.
But we could outswim you. We were swimmers.
I can't swim, so what do I care?
Yeah, I'm a swimmer. We could outswim you.
Okay.
And we could outrun you.
But
track.
Well.
Oh well.
We played better basketball. Anyway, okay. Football, we stomped you guys.
Fair enough.
All right, cool.
Fair
now,
enough. So yes,
go to Oakland High instead of Skyline.
Grow nationally. This model works really well. That it doesn't have to stay national. I have a couple of people who want to open the London office.
Yeah.
This is about how to connect well, comfortably, build your network. If you meet a best friend, have you failed? Not at all.
So this is almost a franchise opportunity in a sense. Is that possible?
It is absolutely possible. My vision, though, is that this stay corporate. I have issues around quality and control.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to make this a cookie cutter experience in that sense. I am in the sense that you want to make sure that it scales. Yes, but this is all about the person's experience. This is high touch. You get interviewed. There's somebody from Matches That Matter at each of the events. You're not just on your own wandering around wondering what the project is. It starts on time. It ends on time. We respect our clients.
Oh, and by
we
the
care
way,
about them.
This is not your first startup rodeo, is it?
No, it is not. This is my third business.
What were the other two?
The first is Smart Ways to Work, our consulting and time management and organization company where we walked into organizations to figure out what was not working and fixed it for them. So we did a lot of analysis, a lot of stand-up training, a lot of presentations, helping people work more productively and more easily. And that's really important. It's not just about having people work longer hours. It's about working with more sanity and getting more done in a reasonable amount of time.
What about the second one?
The second is my give back to the community. That's the Lakeshore Neighborhood Plant Exchange.
Ah, okay. We talked about off camera.
Right.
And
Where
which we'll
the
talk
community
about again.
comes
Right.
back.
Right.
Yeah.
And okay, so out of doing this, what did you learn that has found its way into this company?
Oh, where to start? There's so much that my consulting and my experience running a company brings. One of the reasons I'm confident that we will not only be successful at Matches That Matter, but that I will be able to lead Matches That Matter, is because of having led to others
Right.
and having worked with the myriad of organizations in the way that I have, that I get to really watch the inner workings. So I come with clients, resources, experience, so I understand how startups develop.
Right.
I understand the hills and the valleys. I'm less likely to panic because, oh, I remember this part, and it'll take a little while, and then we will
Sure.
get over this hump. So it's that experience that I bring. And when I hire staff, I also make sure that our staff has startup experience, because that's huge, so they understand the timing and the pacing. The other has to do with speed, to move quickly along. So I did something that was pretty unusual. Because time is linear, right?
Yes.
Many, not all, but many CEOs have an idea, and then they spend however much time funding the money for it.
Right.
I did two things concurrently. I said, I'm going to build a business, and I'm going to build an infrastructure. I'm also going to raise money concurrently.
Parallel tracks.
Parallel, right? Because time is linear. That's the thing you can't move. Parallel tracks. So now, when I come to an angel who's expecting, oh, startup, she probably doesn't have, and I pull out the due diligence binder. I pull out, the sales force that and would you like our director of? And here it is. It's a real thing now.
Sure. And for those who want to contact you regarding investment opportunities, how should they get a hold of you?
They can contact me directly, or they can send me an email.
Okay.
Odete, Odette, at matchesthatmatter.com.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
for your
much. It's
time.
very exciting.
Thank you. Cool. So Odette, what's the process behind Matches That Matter?
A member joins, and it's very easy. You go online, we ask you 3 qualifying questions. You join. We arrange for your interview that's at your convenience. We do it on the phone. You don't have to go anywhere. And then in that process, you have told us about what kinds of activities you like, so that we only offer you the kinds of things that you're interested in. We offer you 3 at a time, so that you can choose which ones and the dates. And then the next thing you have to do is just show up on the day. We feed you.
Yep.
We always have a host from Matches That Matter to make sure that the interaction moves well. We started on time, we ended on time, because we know that you're busy. And then you arrive for those 3 visits. They're usually about a week apart. You know what the time is, so that you know about your calendar. And that's how we manage the frequency of contact. And then you can do it again.
And how much does it cost?
It costs $199, which includes the enrollment, and then your first flight to try us out, and then you can buy packages of 3 of these activities, so that it's easy, comfortable. If you're going to get busy, you can take a break, come back in, because your enrollment... Stop! Enrollment does not expire. That's what I was trying to
Because
say.
the ruling does not expire. Okay.
So the enrollment does not expire.
Okay, definitely. Odette wants to know why I don't date online, and I'll tell you why. I have a Match.com profile,
Yes.
but I use it as a marker. I'm on, and I consider it social networking. I'm on 200 different social networking sites. But the reason why I don't date online is because I've met too many wackos. That's why.
And that's a huge
I mean,
issue.
from this
Yes.
person who told me openly that they liked me better if I were Asian, to oh my God, it's
Yes.
crazy.
So
And then here's the other thing, okay? I'm just being very blunt, all right?
yes. And then I want to address that.
I get 75% of the Match.com matches I got. Last time I checked was I think like 2006 or something. Were white, and I'm dating a relationship since I was 15. Okay, that's not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But
the world's big.
no. You're not. Let me finish. The problem, Odete, is that I match up well, but then they don't want a black guy. So why is it that I'm being sent all these matches for somebody that doesn't want to date anybody black to begin with? So I respond back, they don't respond, and they check their ethnic preference and it says white or Latino, or I'm interested in guys of color, Latino. Wait a minute, I'm a dude of color, okay? Then they do everything that I want to do, and they match up, but they don't want to date anybody that looks like me, and yet matches sending me this stuff, and that happens again and again and again.
The whole issue with the wacko
And I might add,
concern,
I don't pick anybody based on race. It's like,
right.
what's it, right? It's like,
one of the issues about the wacko issue,
Yeah.
when we design matches that matter, one of the reasons why there's an interview is to check out that wackiness factor. So let me tell you what that means. I'm not saying you guys have to act like I want you to act. Not at all. But we have trained interviewers, because what I want to know is, does the hair on the back of their neck stand up? And if it does, I'm going to go with their hair standing up. And what I want to do is sort of eliminate that wacko factor, that there is something all the way wrong with this person. And also,
wait, does that mean they come out of an interview with a picture of their hair like Donald Trump or something?
Yeah, and also try to help make sure that we don't end up with a service that's full of people that are just interested in dating everybody they can on the planet. If you're interested in that, there are a lot of services out there already. That's not the space I want to be in.
Quality, not
so
quantity.
it's quality and people that really actually are interested
Sure.
in looking. So that's another differentiator.
Which I think is important, because
It's huge.
the problem that I had when I did it, and I can count on one hand the number of times I have, is that they acted like you weren't going to see them again, and it's a small town. They're the same town.
Yes.
I think, are you guys nuts?
Yes.
I'm going to run into you at a party or something like that.
Yeah.
And I also
There's more courtesy in person.
And I firmly believe, and I would say this, I firmly believe that guys should talk to girls. And I say that because in this society, people act like they're afraid, particularly guys. And act like they're emasculated or something.
There are two issues. Have you noticed this? We are social creatures, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are social creatures. But if you've gone into a coffee shop recently, all the tables will be filled with people by themselves in front of their computer.
Yes.
They can be in front of their computer at home in their pajamas. Why are they at a coffee shop? There is a need to be around other folks, but they're not connecting because they've taken this thing with them.
Oh, but then they take it as a
connect.
front if you say something to them sometime. Oh, you're talking to me. Well, it's a cafe.
Isn't it interesting?
And I love being I call myself, or I'm starting to call myself, the social bull in the china shop. Because I really think, you asked me to tell you what I think the society is screwed up.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
In some ways, I'm with you.
I really do.
I think it's harder to connect now.
Yeah, but it's
Much
all
harder.
and the people's, I'm unhappy. Well, when people talk to you,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
It's really interesting, the assumptions.
Which is why it sounds
that
like your
people-
service is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The assumptions that people make. A man says to a woman, hi. Now, when that happens when you're 20, here's a better example. Let's start at 20.
All right.
You're 20 years old, and we're in class. I don't know you well. I get hungry. I say to you, let's go and have a pizza. What does that mean? I'm hungry. I want a pizza. That's all it means. You're
Right.
either hungry or you're not. That's it. Flash forward 25 years. And I say, do you want to have a pizza? What do you hear? Why is she asking me for a pizza? I don't want to get married. I just got divorced. Women are crazy. There's all this stuff. I'm hungry. All I wanted was a pizza. What happens over time is experience, and nothing is neutral. So what I wanted is a neutral ground. And what I'm doing, I'm giving people neutral ground. At the end of this, usually people say, can we like go to lunch or something afterwards? So we find a restaurant for people to go to. People want to be around in a comfortable way. And if you put 200 people in a room at a wine tasting or something, that's lovely. Who shines in that instance? People who are incredibly gregarious, right? Or women who tend to go in groups. They'll go with groups of 3 or 4 or 5. They talk to each other. Men tend to go by themselves.
Yeah.
So you got one man. How's he going to break into a group of 3 or 4 women? They leave unhappy. They didn't talk to anybody. The men leave unhappy, right? Because there was nobody to talk to.
Yeah, because
So
the
you've
one
got to
thing
lay
is,
all that stuff
and I've
together.
kind of trained myself to ignore this, is when you do get into that group, there's always that one woman that looks at you askance.
Yes.
And I've trained myself to ignore that person, or at least try to say something to make that person laugh.
Yes. And laughter is
You know?
huge. Yeah.
But then sometimes you just don't feel like doing that work.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, but you know,
And it's
but
hard
you have
to break
like
in,
people.
you know, because people are talking, their
Sure.
shoulders are turned, and because they're focused and they're intense.
Yeah.
It's really hard to break in. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. So rather than trying to teach everybody how to engage in social conversation, let me do what they already know how to do. They know how to work.
Yeah.
They know how to choose things that they like. They know how to use their spare time. I'm going to make it easy. Let's give back to the community while we're there. And we find interesting things as well. For example, if you like to use your hands, let's build a set for a community theater. You know, so we try to find really interesting things. So when you think nonprofit, if you're thinking, oh, this is going to be boring, not necessarily.
Ha ha ha! Interesting.
Not at all.
And that is a great addendum to our first video. Thank you. Got it. She did a thumbs up there.